And now, let's see which package I have here. Yes, this is the one. Now this is my special flour mixture, this one that's had its 4 turns, and it's 2-hour rest, and it's ready to be turned into croissants. So, what we do again is just to roll it out. And before I roll it out, because we will be rolling it out and forming them, you want to prepare your pastry sheet, which means simply buttering it lightly. And then when you've rolled out your croissants, you form them on the on the pan. Now this gets rolled out into a long rectangle. And be sure again that you flour the bottom. You see, I didn't flour the bottom and some butter is stuck onto it. In that case, get anything that you can scrape the butter off with. Matter of fact, I think I'll even turn it over and flour this a little bit more. So you've got so much butter in here that you have to keep everything nice and cold, and try and keep your triangle as neat as possible. Now when I've rolled it out about that's about practically 2 feet long, cut it in half. And then refrigerate 1/2. Because you'll find if you start making these, if you don't keep everything cold, you're just going to have an awful time because the butter melts and the dough gets soft and it just seems impossible. Now this gets rolled out again, and it's to keep it about 5 inches wide, and then it's supposed to be rolled out to about 10 or 15 inches. Well, I'm letting everything stick. That's the way dough is. Now this gets cut in 3, and then put aside 2 of those, and if it's a hot day, refrigerate them. You'll find that it makes a great deal of difference having things cold. And now we roll this out into a square. You can see already it's rather sticky, so you can see on a hot day what a problem you'll have. That's rolled into a square, and then cut that on the bias. I think these little pastry wheels are very useful. And then, see, that's sort of a hypotenuse triangle. You want it to make more of a pie shape, so roll out the end a little bit, and then take the large end and roll it up toward the point. And finish it off with your hands, and there is your point there, and you want that to go underneath on the pastry sheet. So there's 1 croissant. This recipe with 2 cups of flour will make 12 5-inch croissants. There again, I'm rolling it again into a nice triangle, and then rolling it up, and there's the point on the bottom, and it's again arranged on the pastry sheet. And now we have, see, if I were a very clever roller and had rolled that out nicely, I've got to roll this into a square. If you were a baker and did these all the time, you'd have no difficulty at all. But this still is going to work all right. There's 1 triangle, and I'll take the worst one and see what we can make out of it. Ideally, all of your croissants would be the same shape, but I always end up with a few that aren't quite as pretty, and they can go on the bottom of the pan. And now, when you have your croissants formed, they must be raised, and so you leave them on the pastry sheet uncovered and let them raise until they have doubled. You see see how they've swelled that way. And you must be sure and let them raise that way. And they rise outside, at room temperature. And then just as soon as they have risen, you want to paint them with egg glaze. This is 1 egg beaten with a teaspoon of water. And this gives them a nice brown color, and then they go into the oven This go into a 475-degree oven, and they bake for 10 to 12 minutes. And when they're done, they're nice and brown like this. And then you want to let them cool off for, about 10 or 15 minutes before they can be eaten, because it's very much like, they're very much like fresh bread. You can't eat them right away and let them cool off. And so here we are with our ready croissants. And we have café au lait. This is coffee with milk. And we have a nice big bowl of jam. And we have our wonderful homemade buttery croissants. And you'll find that they're really about the best things you ever ate. And making them yourself, they only cost half as much as if you bought them ready-made. And also the nice thing about making your own is after they've cooled off, you can freeze them. Just put them in a plastic bag and freeze them and take them out from the freezer and put them in a 400-degree oven for about 2 or 3 minutes, and they're all ready to eat and absolutely delicious. So you just put on your jam and you're ready to eat. You don't really need to serve any butter with a continental breakfast like this, because you have so much butter in your croissants you can just eat them with jam. So you can really feel that you're having breakfast in Paris without even making the trip. And there isn't any need to when you have your own café au lait, and you have your jam, and you have your croissants. So we have also Le Figaro, which makes like a French breakfast. So that's all for today on The French Chef. This is Julia Child. Bon appétit.
Julia Child is co-author of the book Mastering the Art of French Cooking.